you've made a bit of an interesting purchase in the last few months. You bought a CryptoPunk NFT. Now, CryptoPunk was kind of like the first NFT collection to take off, and then we saw the likes of Bored Ape Yacht Club come after that, which took over a little bit of the hype. But correct me if I'm wrong. CryptoPunks have sort of maintained a little bit more value since that top out in 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah, the top NFT, 21, 22. Yeah, correct. They're, as you said, the most historical NFT. They're a form of art, they're a form of history, they're a form of culture, they're a form of value, right? And so my thesis was I had made a lot of money in NFTs this cycle, from Mad Lads on Solana way back in 23 to...
Man, they killed it.
To Ordinals in 2024. I made money on BTC Puppets, to my Pudgy Penguin trade more recently, where I got an airdrop of 100 grand Australian from just holding a big Pudgy. So I was like, look, okay, I sold that. I was like, look, I was stabled over the past couple months. I was like, look, if we are now approaching the bear market again, what am I happy to hold through that bear market, but then still have risk in the game that can outperform that over time? And so I bought a lot of Bitcoin, and I was happy in that position. And I was like, look, Ethereum's been number 2 for a very long time, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. Even with Solana's dominance this cycle, it really hasn't eaten away with Ethereum's dominance in terms of price and value and understanding and tech, right? And there are upcoming tech advantages for Ethereum. So I was like, okay, I want to own some Ethereum, but maybe a hedge is a better opportunity. And so for me, I was like, oh, a punk. Okay, maybe that's a really good opportunity to, rather than stake Ethereum, I could hedge my value of Ethereum in my punk. And so I bought a punk a couple of weeks ago now, and it is a hedge on Ethereum. It was a new PFP for Twitter. Is a big one. Business opportunities, status, like so many things, growing my brand on Twitter, on YouTube, those sorts of things. Having a punk really puts you in a different category. You're viewed in a different way compared to maybe a random NFT that you have that's valued only at $100 or $1,000. So it definitely, and I've tremendously noticed a difference already in the past couple of weeks. So it was an investor standpoint, obviously, but it's also a brand, a business proposal that I went with that investment.
And how much did you pay for it?
I bought mine. So aesthetically, I wanted one that resembled me as best as possible. And so it is a ginger beard kind of, I think it does have a do-rag, and it has a little gold earring. So a little bit trendy, but hey, it was above the floor. And I like clean sort of NFTs, right? So I did spend a little bit above the floor. Shout out to Punks OTC. They've been flipping punks for a long time, and they kind of controlled the floor, but they did a great deal with me. But yeah, I bought $91,000 at the time. Damn. So it works out to be 140,000 Australian. But again, very calculated risk, as I've said, and I've been doing this a long time. I've been in crypto since 2016. So I understand the value of a punk and where that could potentially be in the future.
Did you weigh up many other options, or kind of that was pretty easy for you to make that decision?
Well, yeah, look, I did. You're right. Because I had a Pudgy, and because I repped a Pudgy for about 6 months, end of last year into this year, that was pretty much, outside of apes, I think those are your top 3: punks, Pudgy, and apes. And I was like, look, I don't like apes. What are they going to give me in the future? They were the 2022, 2021 hype. You made millions if you were probably in that ecosystem. Are they going to do that again? Probably not. They're scattered across multiple assets. Are they building games? Blah, 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 blah. I couldn't form a thesis. So I was like, okay, I've formed my thesis with a Pudgy. I'm still farming Abstract, which is their layer 2. I made a lot of money with the Pengu drop, but I sold my Pudgy. I was like, look, I don't know, again, if the bear market's coming. I'd rather de-risk that asset at this point in time. So I was like, yeah, a clear choice is a punk. So I moved some assets around and then bought the punk.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I was wondering why you came in with a do-rag. And that all makes sense now.
I know, I'll get an earring next week, don't worry.
No, that's interesting. I like the perspective of like, you're not just speculating that it's going to go up in value and then flipping it for a profit, right? You're actually using it as part of your sort of status and growing your reputation on especially socials and stuff like that, because obviously it means a lot to this community. So no, that's a good, but like in terms of, just the regular punter out there, do you think NFTs are a good investment as opposed to, say, your altcoins, or how do you look at that?
That's a great question. I think in the right timing of markets, yes. Mm-hmm. And if you actually look more recently, NFTs haven't dumped anywhere near as bad as your favorite altcoins and your meme coins.
That's a good point. I haven't looked at that.
Yeah, if you look at floors, like Pudgies, for example, they obviously had their airdrop. They dropped from 34 ETH down to 8 ETH. They've oscillated between 8 and 10 ETH for a while now. But they haven't dropped anywhere near as bad as, say, AVAX. Sui dropped 60%, and those sorts of things. So if you're confident with your thesis, you invest in founders. I've found with NFTs is probably the best way to go about it. And if you look at Luca from Pudgy Penguins, he's just sensational with what he's done. I don't know if you guys saw, literally, just last week or over the weekend, an ETF for Pengu and for the Pudgy ecosystem / NFT. Like, he is doing wonders for this space that no other NFT founder is. Yeah. And so for me, I bought a little Pudgy for Abstract. I own a bit of Pengu for Abstract as well, but I'm happy to own those two assets as well for the long term, because I can just see how good he is going to be for this space. Always judge something with their value in a bear market, right? Yeah, if you look at the Punk's value in a bear market, so good. So good.
Because they haven't launched like a token or a chain or anything like that.
No, and they'll never do that, right?
Just art for art.
Yeah, it's an art for art. And it's like some of these people that I've connected with in the Punk world are some of the most richest people in crypto and global investors. Like, it's crazy. So that's what I mean by another opportunity that I did think about when I did buy the Punk.